Hey, what is going on, Cancers? Butch Tarot here. I am going to do you 1 week read. It is a general read, so it may not resonate with everyone. It is for your Sun, Moon, Rising, and your Venus. For all you cross watchers, roles can be reversed. Always feel free to comment down below. With all that being said, let's get it. Universe. What message do we have for Cancers? Let me see for Cancers, universe. All right, Cancers. My ear is itchy. I don't know if that means anything. First thing I see is, I feel like almost this dark cloud. You know, we have this chaotic energy kind of swarming around you right now. You know, I feel like we're in a state almost of a lot of overthinking. You know, I feel like this dark cloud is kind of representative of like a dark place that you're in right now. You know, feeling like you lost something or that you're losing everything. But let me just reassure you that I see a lot of sun rays breaking through those clouds really quickly here. I see this huge transformation happening. You know, I see these big changes, but moving forward. I see someone showing up for you. You know, in your time of need, almost like this person has perfect timing. You know, I see them showing up for you. And I always look back at that and think of, it's not who shows up for us in the good times. It's the people that show up for us both in the good times and the bad. And that's what I see with this person. I see this person opening communication with you and just showing up for you and being there for you. Being very supportive through this time. And with this person, I feel like there's this reflection period, like right now, like I said, where you feel like you may have lost something or have lost everything for some people. And to this new person, there may be a bit of defensive energy toward them. Don't worry. They see through it. They understand it. You know, I feel like this person showed up for a reason. And it may not be clear in the beginning, but like I said, I feel like with this person, they show up for you very supportive. It's a very nurturing but very protective energy. You know, they're joining you in that dark place, and I feel like they bring along, you know, metaphorically, obviously, the sunshine. You know, this person brightens up your room. You know, and I just feel like there's a lot of, it starts off in a friendship, but I feel like there's a lot of really strong, nurturing energy that tells me there's something more on this person's agenda. Or I guess agenda sounds like it's a negative thing. I feel like there's something more that this person has to offer. But right now, they're just going to be your friend. You know, because that's what you need. They're going to be the thing that you need them to be. And that's what speaks volume about this person. You know, even though, like I said, some defensive energy coming from you, maybe not trusting this person or not wanting to trust this person or not wanting to be vulnerable again. You know, looking at the negatives instead of the positive makes you a bit defensive. But like I said, I feel like this person is here for you. And I don't feel like they're going anywhere. And I mean, I feel like the trust comes. You know, the establishment of trust, like I said, with that Knight of Pentacles. I feel like there is a point when you just feel authentic, nurturing energy from this person. Like they're not doing it for their own benefit. Because if they were doing it for their own benefit, they'd be trying to get something out of you, and they're not doing that. Like I said, I feel like they have a plan for the both of you, but I feel like they know how to read a room. Right now, they're just going to be what you need them to be. You know, supportive, making you feel comfortable, making you feel heard, making you feel seen. And I feel like that no matter how hard you try, you know, I just see you breaking free. You know, they're breaking down those walls. Sometimes when we get hurt or shit isn't going our way, sometimes it's easier just to crawl in bed and throw the blanket over your head and sleep it away. But when you wake up, it's still there. You know, maybe feeling like all these things that you had lost is what you always wanted. But in all reality, I feel like what you've been waiting for has just finally arrived. You know, unfortunately, some things have to end for others to begin. And in this case, I feel like the ending is only the beginning, you know? Well, I mean, the Three of Wands, I mean, this is the beginning of a new journey. Like I said, this person has more intentions for you, but they're pure. You know, I don't feel like this person has any ulterior motives, as in some negative shit that they want to pull on you. I don't feel that at all from this person. I feel like quite the opposite. I mean, I feel like this person is going to make you an offer. Now, for some of you, this person may not even have came in with that in the mindset. They were just showing up for you. They needed, you know, they felt like you needed them, so they showed up for you. For others, I feel like there was definitely something they saw and they wanted more of it. But I feel like this connection, you know, with the Two of Cups, blocking it with my big fingers, the Two of Cups, I feel like the strong connection is brewing between the two of you. And it's only when that dark cloud passes that we finally start to see it. I mean, we have new love. You know, and like I said, I mean, we have the King of Cups. So I feel like what this person wants is something real. You know, they want something that they can have and they can give to and they can be part of. They're not looking for a one-night stand. They're not looking to manipulate you into giving them something that, you know, the keys to your car or the PIN number to your bank account. They're not looking for that. What they're looking for is very authentic. It's very genuine. And like I said, when the time is right, this person will make you an offer. They're not just here to get you past this. They're here to be with you along your journey. You know, I see a lot of emotional fulfillment with this connection. I feel like the potential becomes more and more clear. The more that dark cloud kind of surpasses. With the Page of Wands, I feel like the intentions, the potential, all that becomes clear. But like I said, this person, what I see is this person showing a lot in the fact that there's not a lot of pressure here. They're just showing up for you when you need them. And if they don't get anything from it, they don't get anything from it. That's what I mean by very genuine. I mean, if they get something from it, awesome. If they don't, they don't. It's a very selfless energy coming in, like I said. And it's not about, in life, we can have all kinds of people show up. You know, when you win the lottery, you'll have friends you didn't even know you had. When you're broke, it's the real ones that are there for you. You know, there's the people that you want to surround yourself with. The people that congratulate you when you win the lottery and don't ask for anything. The people that are genuinely happy for you when you win the lottery. Not, oh, well, they won the lottery, now I can get something. Like, this person isn't coming in looking for anything. You know, as you're gaining trust with this person, they're gaining trust with you as well, and the connection becomes more and more clear. And like I said, for some of them, they may see you a certain way and have an idea of what they want from it. And for others, it's maybe somebody coming in not having no idea. They just see someone that needs someone. You know, it's who shows up in the darkest hours. They're the real ones. You know, and sometimes, like I said, for some of you, this may resonate more. We go back to the Three of Wands, that ship finally coming in, that wave coming in, like the surfers waiting for a wave. You see the flat water, very still. There's a couple little ripples there. Like something's happening, you know? Sometimes we think we have everything we want. You know, even if it's not perfect. Sometimes we're in a relationship and, you know, on our really good days, things are good. There's some bad days, but, you know, we think we have what we want, and then we lose it. It's not because it was, hey, you know, you didn't lose everything you ever wanted. It wasn't what you wanted. You know, it has to make way for the, you know, you got a one-car garage, and you have this old beat-up car that gets you back and forth to work, but it breaks down all the time. All of a sudden, you win a brand new car. You gotta pull that old junker out of your garage because you gotta make room for the new car. Sometimes some things have to end for others to begin, and that's just the part of life that, you know, sometimes it's hard. It's hard to get your head around until that new car comes along, or until that new energy comes along, until that better person comes along. Someone that suits you better, someone that makes you happy more often than not. Someone that understands, especially with a cancer. I mean, cancers can have these moments when they go to these very deep places, and they need someone that can understand that. And some people just don't understand it. They get the idea that cancers are moody or cancers are this and that. I don't get that. I mean, I have a couple cancer friends, and I don't get that at all. You know, cancers wear their hearts on their sleeves. You know, it's how you look at it. It's kind of why I've been doing this new thing, the truth about each sign. I haven't done cancer yet, but I will. To give people better insight. You know, what better way to understand your partner than to have someone give you a list of things to understand them better. Anyway, I digress. With this, we have Aries, we have Gemini and Aquarius, and some Libra, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. I'm getting some Taurus as well. You know, it's sometimes we get in relationships where it's good. You know, things are good. And when people have something good, they generally don't want to walk away from it, even if there is some bad times. You know, they work on it. They work through it. A friend of mine, he was actually with a girl that they were really, they had a pretty good relationship. You know, things were good. And, you know, then things got bad. The bad started adding up. And then it was more bad than good. And my friend had a hard time with that because he said, you know, I love her. And we had we had these great memories. And there was a time when we were good. But that's the problem with life is some people grow together. Some people grow apart. And he's like, I don't want to walk away from the good times, even though they were a long time ago. I keep waiting for them to come back, the nostalgia of it all. Anyway, like I told him, I said the same thing I just said to you. Sometimes we grow together. You know, some people are like this their whole life. Like, they're growing on the same trajectory, and they grow together. You know, they're always together, they grow together. Some people are like this, they're kind of different. And eventually, through life, they grow together. But then there's some people that are like this, and then they grow apart. You know, you want kids, they don't want kids. You want to live in the country, they want to live in the city. Things change. And we can't hold on to that if it doesn't do us any good. And I told him that, and I explained it to him. We had a long talk. And I said, but listen, I'm not in your relationship. I'm just giving you advice because you asked. And I said, you know, in 5 years, you're going to be 5 years older. In 10 years, is it going to be better? And that's what you got to think to yourself. Can this be saved? Are we both on the same page to save this? And if we're not, then you got to reevaluate. Eventually, it was 6-7 months later, he finally decided, you know, I'm done with this relationship. It's not what I want. I can't salvage it. I'm fighting for it. She's not. So they went their separate ways. Now, a couple of years ago, he had met someone else. And they're still together. They just had their first kid. That would never have happened if he would have held on to the one that wasn't working. Now, I'm not saying if you have an issue in your relationship that you should just give up on it. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you feel like you're the only one pulling the weight all the time, if you're the only one trying to make it work all the time, even after conversations, even after talking to that person, and they just don't want to fix it, sometimes, you know, it's like having a partner in business. If you and another person owned a business and they started slacking off, they started taking holidays, they started spending the, you know, your income. You know, there's got to be a point where I'm working for this and you're not. You're working against it. It's like being in a rowboat. I always like this metaphor because it's like being in a rowboat and two people have an oar or a paddle. And one is rowing and the other isn't. All you're going to do is go in a damn circle. Now, if you're rowing and they're rowing against, you know, you're rowing forward, they're rowing in reverse, you're going to go around in circles. You need two people that are rowing in the same direction. Great relationships have bad days. It's great relationships that know how to get through it and have two people willing to do that. And if you don't have two people willing to do it, you have a conversation. You know, I highly recommend the conversation before you end any relationship. You know, give that person a chance to show up. You know, especially if you've been with them for a while. And then it's up to them what they do with it. And then it's not on you anymore. It's not you making the decision. They made the decision to not try. Anyway, I'm sorry I get off my little rants, but, you know, another friend of mine, she said to me, she said, maybe I shouldn't, okay. She said, why are all the good men taken? And I said, there's lots of guys out there thinking, where are all the good women? The problem is the good women and the good men, a lot of times, are still in bad relationships trying to make it work one-sided. You know, I don't know how many good people I've seen in bad relationships. And I just wish they could find something better. You know, nostalgia and memories and all that is sometimes can be very detrimental to us because we hold on to that. You know, you had this really great Christmas 10 years ago. Well, how long are you going to hold on to the relationship when the last 9 Christmases were shit? I don't know. I laugh because it's a nervous laugh, and you know, that's why I do what I do. I want you to find love. I want you to find the person that understands you. You know, I don't want you to just find someone that you have a great sex life with and that's it. You know, that's where it ends. All those things are so intertwined. Someone that you have a deep emotional connection with, the sex life is going to be something that it was never with someone you didn't have that. You know, your talks are going to be deeper because emotionally you're connected. You know, there's this saying is like this emotional synchronicity. You know, when you can emotionally sync with someone, you can feel what they're feeling. You know, it's kind of similar to the bond that they say that twins have. When you meet that right person, you sync with them, and they understand you in a way that no one else really did. And that's what makes that bond so special. That's what makes that connection so special. Now, you're going to meet people in life. You may meet the right one and they don't get you right at the start, but they will because they care to. You know, when you're with someone, if you've ever been with someone and they know what you like, but they don't do it, they're intentionally not doing it. There's people out there that don't know what you like, but want to know so they could do it. Anyway, I'm still rambling. Love you all. Be good. Take care. Stay safe.